The recording light wasn't supposed to be on. That's what makes this so terrifying. Late one night, inside a dark, abandoned studio where careers were built and destroyed, a voice allegedly belonging to Vincent Herbert began circulating online.com, controlled and chilling. Not yelling, not ranting, almost relieved, like a man who had waited years to finally stop protecting people who never protected him. Within hours, blogs exploded, timelines melted down. And one question swallowed the internet whole. What does Vincent Herbert know about the Braxton family that he's never said out loud before? Fans swear this isn't just post-divorce bitterness. They claim this sounds like a man breaking under the weight of secrets that were never meant to surface. Alleged insider whispers say the tape hints at money, control, loyalty, and power moves so deep they could rewrite everything we thought we knew about Tamar Braxton's rise and Vincent's fall. Social media didn't wait for confirmation. Twitter turned into a courtroom. Instagram became a crime scene. TikTok detectives started pulling old interviews, freezing frames, replaying moments that suddenly feel different. Was Vincent really the villain the public painted him as? Or was he quietly absorbing blame while something far more calculated happened behind closed doors? Sources claim this alleged recording wasn't even meant for the public. And that's the scariest part. Because when someone speaks without planning to be heard, the truth slips out sideways. And just when fans thought this was another exaggerated rumor, a second alleged clip surfaced, shorter, shakier, but more explosive. A single sentence in that clip changed everything and sent one message loud and clear. This story isn't finished. It's just getting dangerous. The recording didn't end when the red light went off. According to people close to the situation, that was only the beginning. What happened next is what allegedly sent shockwaves through private group chats, industry phones, and backdoor conversations that never make it to TV. Because once that voice was heard, even briefly, people who had stayed silent for years suddenly felt exposed. Not because the words were loud, but because they sounded precise, intentional, and unfinished. Within hours, blogs started reporting that insiders were scrambling. Old emails were being deleted. Group texts went quiet. And a rumor began circulating that Vincent Herbert had finally stopped playing defense. Allegedly, he wasn't angry anymore. He was organized. Sources claim he had been sitting on information for years, watching narratives form without correcting them, letting public opinion turn him into the villain because it was easier than detonating the truth. But something changed. Friends say the shift wasn't sudden, it was overdue. Fans started revisiting old footage with new eyes. Moments that once looked like reality TV drama suddenly felt like warning signs. Vincent staying quiet while others spoke for him. Tamar joking about money in interviews, then quickly changing the subject. Family members exchanging looks on camera that now feel loaded. The internet did what it always does when it smells blood. It connected dots whether they were meant to be connected or not. And the picture forming was ugly. Allegedly, Vincent had been more than a husband or a producer. He was the firewall. The man who absorbed pressure, paid for problems before they became scandals, and kept certain conversations off the record. Industry whispers claim there were deals that never went public, arguments that never aired, and compromises that only one side seemed to make. He wasn't just managing a career. He was managing a family ecosystem built on fame, loyalty, and silence. And that silence, according to people close to him, it came at a cost. Not just emotionally, but psychologically. Being painted as controlling while staying quiet. Being blamed while staying loyal. Being erased while still funding the machine. Friends say Vincent believed that if he stayed calm long enough, the truth would surface on its own. But the truth doesn't float, it has to be pushed. And allegedly, that's exactly what he decided to do. What really set the internet on fire wasn't the first leaked audio. It was the rumor that there was more. That what people heard was only a fraction. That there were longer recordings, messages, emails, and timelines that tell a very different story than the one fans were sold. And according to multiple gossip pages, Vincent wasn't the one leaking everything. That's what scared people the most. Because when information starts moving without a clear source, usually means multiple people are talking. Social media became a battlefield overnight. One side insisted this was nothing more than bitterness wrapped in mystery. The other side pointed out something uncomfortable. Vincent had nothing to gain and everything to lose by speaking. No album rollout. No show to promote. No image to protect. Which raised a dangerous question. Why now? Allegedly, the answer sits somewhere between regret and realization. Insiders claim Vincent finally understood that silence doesn't equal dignity when it allows someone else to rewrite history. And once he accepted that, he stopped worrying about how he would look and started thinking about how the story would end if he didn't speak at all. Then came the second rumor, the one that shifted everything. Multiple sources claim a private recording exists from years ago. Not emotional, not heated, but strategic. A conversation about control, about protection, about making sure certain assets and decisions stayed within the family. Nothing illegal on the surface, just careful language and calculated planning. The kind of conversation that sounds harmless until time exposes its impact. Fans started asking uncomfortable questions. If everything was mutual, why did only one person's reputation collapse? If everything was transparent, why does so much allegedly live in private files instead of public records? And if Vincent really was the problem, why did so many people rely on him to clean up messes behind the scenes? Even more unsettling were the whispers about pressure. Pressure to stay quiet. Pressure to play along. Pressure to accept blame so the bigger brand stayed intact. Allegedly, Vincent agreed to things he shouldn't have because he believed family mattered more than perception. But when family becomes strategy, someone always becomes expendable. As the speculation grew, so did the panic. Old associates reportedly distanced themselves. Former collaborators stopped returning calls. And behind closed doors, there was one question everyone was allegedly asking. How much does Vincent actually have? Because here's what makes this situation volatile. He wasn't the loud one. Loud people get dismissed. Quiet people get underestimated. And when quiet people finally speak, they usually come with receipts, not rants. That's what has the internet holding its breath. Not what's been said, but what hasn't. Late that same week, a cryptic message allegedly circulated among industry insiders. No names, no accusations. Just one line. I protected everyone until I realized no one was protecting me. Fans didn't know where it came from, but they felt it. The tone wasn't revenge. It was closure. And closure is dangerous when it comes with documentation. The most chilling part, according to people close to the situation, Vincent isn't planning a social media war. No live rants, no subtweets, no interviews yet. He's allegedly letting the speculation burn because every theory exposes something someone hoped would stay buried. Every argument online keeps the story alive. Every clip reposted brings eyes back to moments people once ignored. And while fans argue about who's right and who's wrong, the real tension sits in what happens next. Because if even half of these rumors are true, this isn't about divorce drama or ego clashes. It's about control, narrative, and who gets to decide what the world remembers. Right now, the internet thinks it's watching a story unfold. But according to insiders, the real story hasn't even been told yet. What we're seeing is the smoke before the fire. And the people who know the most, they're the quietest ones in the room. Because once the next piece drops, and everyone agrees it will, this won't look like gossip anymore. It will look like a reckoning. The silence didn't mean the storm was over. According to people watching closely, it meant the pressure had reached a point where someone was about to crack. Because once rumors stop sounding messy and start sounding consistent, panic sets in. And that's exactly what fans claim happened behind closed doors. Phones stopped ringing back. Conversations suddenly needed lawyers present. And the same names kept coming up in whispers. Never said too loudly, never written down, but always implied. Never written down, but always implied. What made everything spiral wasn't a new recording. It was timing, allegedly. Vincent didn't need to say anything else because the internet had already started asking the questions he never answered publicly. Why did certain decisions always benefit the same people? Why did one narrative dominate while another was buried? And why did every attempt to defend him feel delayed? Fans noticed something chilling. Nobody rushed to deny the rumors in full. Statements were vague, carefully worded, focused on emotion, not facts. And in gossip culture, that's blood in the water, according to insiders. Tension inside the family reached a level it hadn't seen before. Not loud arguments, quiet fractures. The kind where people stop making eye contact, stop sharing information, stop trusting even the air in the room. Group chats allegedly split. Allies quietly chose sides. And one sister, long known for staying neutral, reportedly warned that this situation was no longer controllable. Not because of Vincent, but because of the internet. Once fans feel manipulated, they don't just cancel. They investigate. Then came the alleged backtracking. Sources claim certain conversations were suddenly being reframed as misunderstandings. That choices once defended as business were now described as confusing times. But fans weren't buying it, because the more people explained, the more contradictions surfaced. Dates didn't line up. Stories changed tone. And once that happens, trust evaporates. The most damaging rumor didn't involve money at all. It involved narrative control. Allegedly, Vincent had been advised for years to stay quiet to protect something bigger than himself. The brand, the legacy, the image. And according to those close to him, he agreed until he realized silence had turned him into the scapegoat. Not officially, not on paper, but socially. In the court of public opinion, guilt doesn't require proof. It only requires repetition. Fans began circulating a theory that hit harder than any alleged leak. What if Vincent wasn't pushed out, but phased out? Not abruptly, strategically, slowly removing influence, access, and voice until his absence felt natural. That theory alone ignited thousands of debates. Because if true, it wouldn't require a crime. Just patience. And patience is harder to prove than intent, as speculation intensified. One moment from the past resurfaced and refused to disappear. An old interview clip where Vincent paused before answering a question about trust. At the time, it felt awkward. Now, fans say it feels prophetic. His hesitation, his careful wording, his eyes darting away before he spoke. Comment sections filled with the same sentence over and over. He knew. Then Tamar's energy shifted. Observers noticed it immediately. Posts became less frequent. Captions more cryptic. Silence stretched longer than usual. And when she finally did speak, according to fans, it wasn't defensive, it was cautious. As if she were choosing every word not for truth, but for survival. That only deepened the mystery. Because confident people deny. Careful people prepare. Meanwhile, alleged insiders claimed there were conversations happening that fans would never hear. Conversations about damage control. About what could be disproven and what couldn't. About what should never, under any circumstances, be acknowledged. And in the middle of all of it sat Vincent, reportedly unmoving. Not responding. Not correcting. Just watching. People close to him say he finally understood something most people learn too late. Once your story is told without you, you either reclaim it or live inside someone else's version forever. The internet's obsession reached, a new level when a rumor surfaced that a major interview offer had been extended. Not confirmed, not denied, just whispered about. A controlled environment. No interruptions. No edits. Receipts allowed. That single rumor changed the temperature instantly. Because interviews don't scare people unless there's something to lose at the same time. Counter-rumors began spreading. Claims that Vincent was hiding his own secrets. That he wasn't as innocent as fans believed. That if everything came out, nobody would look clean. And that might be the truest part of all. Because in situations like this, innocence isn't the prize. Control is whoever speaks last often wins, not because they're right, but because exhaustion sets in. Fans started noticing subtle signals. Who liked which posts? Who unfollowed whom? Who stayed silent when they usually spoke up? These micro-movements became evidence in the court of public opinion. And once people start reading between lines, the lines themselves don't matter anymore. The most haunting rumor of all is that Vincent isn't trying to destroy anyone. Allegedly, he just wants the narrative to stop lying, to acknowledge complexity, to admit that things weren't as simple as good guy versus bad guy. But complexity doesn't trend. Conflict does. And once the internet chooses a villain, redemption becomes almost impossible. As days passed, speculation evolved into expectation. People weren't asking if something else would drop. They were asking when and who would break first. Because silence can be strategic, but it's also heavy. Eventually, someone always blinks. The question is whether that blink looks like a confession or a detonation. Right now, fans believe we're in the calm before the real storm. The phase where everyone pretends things will blow over. But nothing ever blows over when too many people are watching. And too many people are watching now. Screenshots are archived. Clips are saved. Narratives are locked in. Whatever happens next won't disappear. And that's what makes this moment so volatile. Not the rumors themselves, but the permanence. Once something enters the digital bloodstream, it never leaves. It mutates. It spreads. It waits. And when it resurfaces, it hits harder than before. Some believe Vincent will never speak again. Others believe he's waiting for the perfect moment. But everyone agrees on one thing. This story has crossed a line where silence is no longer neutral. It's a statement. And statements invite responses. So here we are. Not at the end, but at the edge. Where every move matters. Where one sentence could flip public opinion overnight. Where the truth, whatever it is, has become less important than who controls it. Because if the next chapter drops the way insiders are hinting, this won't just rewrite a relationship. It will rewrite a legacy. And once that happens, there's no going back. If you think this story is over, that's exactly how the biggest secrets stay buried. What you just heard isn't closure. It's a warning. Because in situations like this, silence doesn't mean peace. It means preparation. And right now, too many people are watching, waiting, archiving, and connecting dots for this to disappear quietly. One move, one sentence, one leak, and the entire narrative could flip overnight. That's why you need to stay locked in. Not tomorrow. Not when it's trending everywhere. Now, because when the next piece drops, it won't come with context or mercy. It will come fast, fragmented, and everywhere at once. And the only people who won't be blindsided are the ones already paying attention. The ones who didn't scroll past. The ones who understood that this isn't just celebrity drama. It's power, reputation, and legacy colliding in real time. Hit like if you felt the shift while watching this. That's how we know you're tuned in, not just entertained. Drop a comment with your theory, even if it sounds wild. Especially if it sounds wild. Because the internet doesn't uncover truth by being polite. It uncovers it by asking the questions nobody wants to answer. Read the comments, respond, debate. This is where the real investigation happens. And if you're not subscribed yet, you're already behind. Because when the next update hits, whether it's an interview, a statement, or something nobody was supposed to see, it won't wait for you to catch up. Turn on notifications so you're not hearing about it secondhand. It's chopped up or twisted by someone else's agenda. This story is moving whether you're here or not. The only choice you have is whether you're watching from the front row or finding out after the damage is done. Or finding out after the damage is done.